Good evening, everyone. My name is Priyanka. Welcome to Decoding of the Hindu. Today, we'll be discussing about the internet shutdown in the state of Manipur. Before understanding the issue of the internet shutdown, let us understand the complete background of what is happening in the Manipur or why the violence is occurring in the Manipur, why the state is burning. Welcome to our channel, The Hindu Decoding. Manipur violence. So let us start. Day before yesterday, there was an article or there was an editorial with respect to the internet shutdowns in the Manipur where limited access was allowed. Now, what is the complete story with regards to this Manipur? In just if I want to explain you, then I would say that the High Court of the state ordered the state government to issue the scheduled tribe status, that is the ST status to the Metis tribe of the state. And that was the reason that the other tribal communities protested, and that protest actually they not protested, they did violent activities, right? And because of that, because of the failure of the law and order situation in the state, finally it was instructed for the shutdown of the internet. All right. So this is the news where the High Court ordered the state government and to give the SC status to the Metis tribe. So with respect to this, we get multiple topics from the UPSC point of view, especially mains point of view. How? See, here we are talking about the SC status to the Metis tribe which lead to violence. So first we'll be discussing about the reasons for the Manipur violence and secondly, what is this ST status is all about? When we're discussing about the reasons for the Manipur, this would be the part of the northeastern insurgency. GS paper 3. And when we're discussing about the ST status, this would be part of our GS paper 2, that is polity. Now, this violence in the Manipur is considered a smaller part of a bigger northeastern insurgency. So after discussing the current issue, we'll also have a look on what are the other reasons which are responsible for continuous insurgent activities in the Manipur or the northeastern states. And after doing that, we'll have a look on the judicial overreach, how this topic came down. See, here I said that High Court has ordered the state government to give the ST status. But was this the role of judiciary? No. When we'll talk about or discuss about the ST status, we'll come to know that it is the role of president primarily. So we can say that judiciary is interfering here. So in this manner, the topic comes about the judicial overreach and finally the internet shutdown. We'll also have a look on the previous examples of internet shutdown. Now we can start our topic. Firstly, let's see the explanation. Manipur violence, whenever I talk about the Manipur violence, we say it is a part of the northeastern insurgency. But let us define what is insurgency. Insurgency or insurgent activities are those activities in which a smaller group of people or a smaller organization protest towards the higher authorities in their country because of multiple reasons. They believe that development is not happening in their region, or they are, or the government is ignoring them, or they're not getting adequate representation in the political parties, or they're not getting adequate, jobs. It could be multiple reasons. So when small group of the people revolt against the higher authorities, we say it is a form of insurgent activity. But these activities have not taken yet as a form of an organized revolt. All right. So insurgency is clear. Now, when we say northeastern insurgency, Why it is not Rajasthan insurgency? Why it is not MP insurgency? Why the insurgent activities are seen mostly in the northeastern states? The answer to this question you will get in its geography itself. Okay, so let us see at the map of the northeast. Please try to focus on this map. If you look at the map here of the northeast, you will see there are 8 states which are in the northeast. Here, the first state is the Sikkim. Just look at the board. Second state is Arunachal. Third is your Nagaland. Fourth is the Manipur, which is the location where the current violence is happening. Then the fifth state you'll see here is your Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, and Assam. These are the 8 states which are considered to be part of northeastern region. And except the Sikkim, rest all the 7 states are part of 7 systems. Now, why I am plotting these states very carefully on the map? So that you have a look and you observe that this complete northeastern region is attached with the rest of the landmass of India just with a small corridor. Can you see? This is the northeastern region. It is connected with the rest of the landmass of India only with this narrow strip of the landmass known as Siliguri corridor, right? So what we call it as the Siliguri corridor. Here, another fact: 99% of the border of this northeastern region touches as a worked as an international border. How? In the left side of the Sikkim, you will see Nepal. At the right side of the Sikkim, here you will find Bhutan, and this area you will find China. This area here you will definitely find the Myanmar, and this is the area where you will have Bangladesh. All right. So when the 99% border is an international border and the connectivity with the main landmass is just with a narrow strip of the land. So obviously there is a lap, there is a gap in multiple sections. It is not properly connected. Because of that connected, all the issues arises. Developmental activities are not properly happening here. They are lacking over here. Educational policies are not reaching over here. People are not well developed. The language is different. The religion is different. Their festivals are different. Their total cultural thing is different. The way they earn, the geographical conditions, all is different. That is the reason mostly people among this region feel a alienation kind of thing that we are not part of India. Politically, it is said that northeastern region is part of the India, but the people of this region still have the alienation feeling, and they consider we are not part of the India. So this is an a broad overview why mostly the insurgent activities are happening in the northeast. In this northeast, now let us focus on the Manipur, which is the core part of the today's news. All right. So here this is clear that the Manipur violence is a part of northeastern insurgency, and these are some key facts that of the total landmass of India, only 8% is of the northeastern region, and of the total population of India, the population in the northeastern region is just the 4% of the total. Okay? Now let us go to the Manipur. This is the map of Manipur. Again, I would request you to have a close look on the map of Manipur because Every answer to your question related to the news, related to the UPSC means questions, PYQs, prelims, everything lies in this map. See, we can say that the map or the area of this Manipur is divided into two parts or the two geographical locations. First, the white part, can you see over here? This white part? This white part is the plain area. Alright. This white part is known as the plain area, and this green shaded area, it comprises of the hilly area. Now it is very clear. In the hilly area, it is very difficult to stay to perform your day-to-day activities, and in the plain area, it is easier as compared to the hilly area. ठीक है? So till now we are clear the two geographical locations. Now why I'm teaching you this two geographical locations is because the population of Manipur is broadly comprises of three important tribes. One is the Meitei tribe, second is the Kuki tribe, and third is the Naga tribe. All right. One is your Meitei tribe, Kuki tribe, and the Naga tribe. When I talk about the Meitei tribe, because of which the complete violence is happening, they are residing in this 10% of the landmass. So here you will find the Meitei tribe, which comprises 57% of the total population of the Manipur. And this area is your 10%. By religion, they are Hindu. They follow the westernized tradition. And the rest, other tribes, they reside here in the hilly areas. So they are having the Kuki tribe, and the other tribe is your Naga tribe. All right. So we are clear with the demographic position in the Manipur and the geographical locations in the Manipur, right? So when I'm talking about this geographical location and about the population, so they have more seats in the legislative assemblies because of this population thing, and they have obviously a dominant power for decision making with respect to the law. Now, what is this issue all about? Before understanding that, let's go to the history of the Manipur a bit. At the time of independence, okay, before independence, under the British rule, Manipur was an independent kingdom. Britishers never took their independence. They allowed Manipur to remain as independent as they wanted, but they took total help in the trade. So that was a trade beneficial thing for the Britishers. And from independence point of view, Manipur was happy. But at the time of the independence, after the independence, 2 years, almost 2 years later, on 21st of October 1949, Manipur became the part of India. And thereafter, it was not an independent kingdom, right? So it was part of the India. And in India, the part one of the Indian Constitution, which talks about the Union territory. Have a look over here. We know that this part one of the Indian Constitution, which talks about the Union and its territories. This part of the Constitution clearly mentioned that although our constitution is federal in nature, still we use the term union. Why? Because the states in India have no right to secede. Okay. So here, when I am talking about this, Manipur became the part of India on 21st of October 1949. But they wanted a separate statehood, right? So it was 1947 was the time of independence. After 2 years of this, it was 1949, it was merged to India. Then, after merging, they started insurgent activities, which could be said as the separatist insurgent activities because they were protesting for the separate state. Ultimately, it was 1972 when Sikkim got the label of separate state. After 1972, no strong violence, but in 1978, again, protests were happening like we want to be separated or secede from the Union of India because we are not having lack of development. There's always the scene that is lawful resources are plundered. So out of the general discontent, we want secession. But this is not possible, as we have seen in the part one of the Indian Constitution, which talks about the Union and its territories. That is, no state has the power to secede, unlike America. That is the reason we are using here as the Union and its territories. So, on this protesting thing, three important groups are seen. First important group was the United Nations Liberation Front, People's Revolutionary Party of Tanglaipa, People's Liberation Army of Manipur. So recently, when we see the current issue lies with respect to the insurgency activities, give me a second. Yeah. So these are the historical reasons. Now, if the current issue is with respect to the scheduled tribe status, that scheduled tribe status is given to the Manipur. So, what is this ST status? Why people are having problem with this? Again, come to the polity section. Part 16 of the Indian Constitution talks that there are special provisions provided to a certain class of the India. Those classes are scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, backward classes, and the Anglo-Indians. And why this is provided? Because, see, here we can let me find the cursor. Okay, so this is India. Not working or what? It's working. So this is India. We say India is famous for its diversity. Whenever we talk about diversity, we think of we think of multiple geographical locations, languages, social structures, ethnicities, and etc. So, if I talk about especially the economic conditions and the social structure, then there are certain backward societies, there are certain tribal societies. So, for the upliftment of these sections, to fulfill the objectives of our preamble, that is to lay the equality and justice to every citizen. That means we have to uplift this section as well. That is the reason we have part 15 where special provisions are provided to certain classes. Those classes are your ST, your SC, OBC, and the Anglo-Indians, right? So when we talk about the ST, that is scheduled right. I think we should move to the next slide where it is clearly seen. Yeah. So who has the power to classify that this tribe is SC or this tribe is ST in particular state? It is in the hands of the to denote, to classify any class as a scheduled tribe, right? But if we talk about the inclusion or exclusion of these castes, is not merely done by the presidential notification here, Parliament is also involved. That is the reason we said that judicial overreach was seen. Why? Because what I am saying is that president will consult to the governor of the particular concerned state, and then parliament is involved, and after that a particular caste people could be denoted as either SC, either SC or OBC, right? So it's not mentioned in the constitution that who will be SC, SC or OBC. It is in the hands of the president. But about NUNDs, it is there in the constitution, but it is a separate topic. Here our focus is on the SC, right? Now, what is the focus? What is the core benefit if someone gets the SC status? First of all, they get the claims of the SC/ST services or the legislatures. How? For example, you're having parliament. For example, there's parliament and we are having state legislative assemblies in each state. All right. So with respect to the allocation of the seats, for example, there are total seats 100 in the state legislative assemblies, and in that state, the population of the tribal groups are 14. So with respect to the population proportion, they'll get reservation with respect on the state legislative assemblies, 14% reservations, right? So in this way, they get benefit with respect to the reservations in the legislature here. You can see. So what is the benefit? They get reservations or the special representatives in the legislature with respect to job also or the educational grants also. They get the reservations. This obviously you must have read in the Article 60. And appointment of National Commission. This will be dealing when we'll be talking about the constitutional and the non-constitutional bodies. All right. Just copy the notes. Give me a break for 2 minutes. Now, let us talk. So, this was on the current issue, right? Why the current violence is happening. Now, what are the other reasons for which, because of which the insurgency activities that keep on happening in this area? Again, see, as we said, the Manipur state wants to get separated. But except that, the tribes of Manipur are fighting among themselves only. That means internal conflicts are seen. How? As we said, we are having one is the Metis tribe, other is your Kuki tribe, and you are having the Naga tribe. What Naga wants that they want to annex the land of the Manipur. They want to annex the land of Manipur and they want to merge with the state of Nagaland, which is on the border. Problem with the Kuki tribe is they are on the border which touches the Myanmar, which is a part of Golden Triangle, famous for the drugs. And because of this, they are involved in many such activities, narcotics activities, terrorist activities, insurgent groups, and Meti has seen they have a different scenario. So the conflict is seen among these things only. So why these Meti people were demanding the SC status now? Just because of the same thing, because with respect to the SC status, the main protection is given with respect to the land. As many people say that we see lots of immigration issues. We face many immigration issues From it could be the Bangladesh, it could be from the Myanmar, and because of which our culture is getting affected, our land is getting affected. And more importantly, before we were already in the ST status, right? Before 1944. So we want that status again for protection of our land. Now judicial overreach. We know the process now that president has the power to claim any tribe, any caste as SC or STC. But here the order was given by the High Court. To this thing, we say the judicial overreach. But to understand the judicial overreach, we must know what is judicial activism. In the judicial activism, what we see for the benefit of the society, okay, in general, for the benefit of the society, judiciary articulate or enforce using their powers that in laws for the benefit of society, that is judicial activism. But if it crosses its limit more than necessary, then it is like interference in the work of legislature and executive. How? See, we're having a concept of separation of power in polity, right? Here we are having a separation of power in which the three organs have to work independently without interference in the others' work, that is legislative, executive, and the judiciary, right? That means they have check and balances. They can check and balance each other's work, but they cannot interfere. But here, what we are saying, judiciary is interfering. This is known as judicial overreach. This could be seen with the recent examples in the news. For example, ban on the firecrackers, 99th Constitutional Amendment, Allahabad High Court order. So, what is the 99th Constitutional Amendment? It was regarding the appointment of judges of the Supreme Court. So, Parliament has presented a bill that is NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Committee. But Supreme Court nullified the complete 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, right? So this will be discussing in detail when we're talking about the judiciary. But here, what I want to say is judicial interference in the legislative matters is something what is termed as judicial overreach, right? Next, so because of this complete thing, internet shutdown was instructed, was directed to shut down the internet in the Manipur. So is it okay to shut down internet in any state? Think about it and tell me. See, recently a report is published by SS Now. What is SS Now? It is an internet advocacy watchdog. And as per this report, in 2022, India is on the top when it comes to the ban of the internet or the shutdown of the internet. It's something around 86 cases or 8, I don't remember the exact data. It should be either 81 or 86 between of them. The cases of the internet shutdown in India. Among that, 41 were seen in the Jammu Kashmir itself. And that was the internet shutdown for the longest time. And when internet is shut down in any state, economic losses are seen. For example, the jobs or the companies like Zomato, Swiggy, Domino's, eMetro. So when you shut down the internet, their economy has a very negative impact, right? The people like this profile of online education, the setbacks are seen, health implications are seen. So there is a huge impact on the human rights. So with respect to this, with respect to the Jammu and Kashmir, with respect to the Jammu and Kashmir thing, Supreme Court held that you cannot ban internet for indefinite time as it would be a part of fundamental right. See, in this case, Supreme Court said that indefinite ban of internet would be considered illegal. Indefinite ban of the internet would be considered as illegal. And you have to go for a test of the proportionality and reasonability. I'm missing with the spelling a bit pronunciation, right? Because Supreme Court said that if you are shutting down the internet in names of the national security, then there must be balance between the national security and the human rights. And interestingly, here comes the best example for the Supreme Court. We say that Supreme Court is the guardian of the fundamental rights of citizens. Why? Because fundamental rights was introduced in our constitution to protect the citizens of the country from the arbitrary actions of the government. So here, if government is putting ban on the internet for the indefinite time, that is something an arbitrary action, and Supreme Court has nullified this that this would be considered as what? Illegal with respect to the protection of the human rights, protection of the fundamental rights, Article 21, right to life and liberty, Article 19, freedom of speech and expression. So from this point, we can say that yes, Supreme Court is the guardian of the protector of the fundamental rights of the citizens. So this was this thing that is the balance should be there between the national security and the human rights, and the indefinite ban would be illegal. This was mentioned in the Anuradha versus the Union of Indian Police. Now, our last slide. Who has the power to shut down the internet? This power lies with the top bureaucrats among the Ministry of Home Affairs, that we are having the Indian Telegram Act of 1885. As for that, for the public emergency cases, for certain temporary suspension we can do. All right. So this was the topic with respect to the Manipur violence. Thank you so much.